Hello there, my name is Cotton. This is part 2 of a video that quotes and explains the comments. Please watch it together with part 1. Now, please watch the video until the end. I have received many comments asking what I think about Ghost of Tsushima. So, I will answer this question. I have never played Ghost of Tsushima, so let's watch the trailer for the game and compare. Both are 3-minute trailers put out before the game's release, so I think they are easy to compare. In conclusion, I think the Ghost of Tsushima trailer is incomparably better than Assassin's Creed Shadows. First of all, in this short trailer, it talks about what it takes to live the life of a bushi, and we can see that the protagonist, Jin, was also trying to live proudly. But when a powerful enemy, the Mongolian army, appeared, he decided to abandon his pride and become an oni in order to protect his home. Certainly, this game is also violent, and Jin's behavior is not that of a respectable samurai, as he is told in the trailer. It is not the way a samurai fights. But there was a reason for his behavior, and I could clearly see what his goal was, so I was very sympathetic. I think it is a great story, and I will play Ghost of Tsushima next time. On the other hand, what about Assassin's Creed Shadows? The protagonists did not know what they wanted to do. Since Naoe's hometown was burned to the ground, we can expect her to fight to avenge it. But we know absolutely nothing about Yasuke, and it remains unclear what he is up to. Since Yasuke was among the legions that attacked Naoe's hometown, perhaps the first two were enemies. So why did they start working together? We don't know why the protagonists throw themselves into battle or what their beliefs are. All we know is that we can play a game set in Japan. I can't relate to them because I don't know the story. Defenders of Assassin's Creed Shadows may surely say that you will know the story when you play it, or that there is a profound story that cannot be portrayed in a trailer. But such a difference is nonsense. Whether it's a game or movie, a great work fully conveys its appeal in the trailer. The user sees the trailer and decides whether to buy it, so if it is not interesting, it is a failure as an advertisement. If a trailer before the game's release fails to tell an important story, then we have to conclude that the story of Assassin's Creed Shadows is not interesting. At least, I didn't want to pre-order the game after seeing this trailer. I have received some very interesting comments about the past Assassin's Creed series. I will introduce them here.
そもそもアサシンと呼ばれる人民の自由のために隠れて事をなす者たちを操作するゲームだったはずなのに、公然と虐殺してる時点でシリーズのコンセプトから外れてるんですよね。最新作でも殺人現場などを見られたら手配書が配られるのに。朝栗1、2は暗殺後、その死者へ追悼の語句を述べながら目を閉ざすという暗殺をテーマにしつつも、死への尊厳を損なわないように努力している姿勢があったんですよね。 ブラザーフッドかリベレーションズ以降、そういう語句が省略されてがっかりしたのを覚えてる。そうなんです。国内のさまざまなカルチャーで切腹、斬首等の描写はありますから、昔の日本はそういう価値観があったのだなという認識です。ただあなたのおっしゃる通り、これは人種だとかエンタメとか関係なく、かっこいいアクションすら超えて、ただアジア人への暴力にしか見えません。くのいちのオリジナル主人公もいると論点ずらししてますが、じゃあそのキャラだけを使えばよかったのに。ポリコレの弊害ですね。ちなみにこのシリーズは最初はまさに暗殺者らしく、主人公が静かに美しく痕跡を残さない仕事をする作品でした。だからこそ海外勢も期待していたんですが、近年ただのグロテスクアクションと化したのは当時の開発スタッフがほぼほぼ退社したからでしょう。Assassin's Creed was never intended to be gory. The first time the series ran into brutality was in AC Revelations, in which the player can be obtain blood-tempest Dracula sword and perform brutal finishes, but they didn't include neither dismemberment nor decapitations. Even AC Unity, which is based on the French Revolution, a time period known for the obscene number of decapitations that took place, has no beheadings at all. I'm convinced that Ubisoft is just glorifying the mutilation of Japanese people while hiding under the excuse that they are trying to stay historically accurate. They are not being historically accurate, they are fetishizing violence. I remember when Assassin's Creed sticked to historical accuracy. Sure, it tweaked some things here and there for plot convenience, but the respect for the culture was there from the beginning. Assassins had honor. Every major assassination you performed ended up with your character paying respect to your target, not like AC Shadows, which just brutalizes their corpse via decapitation. The games used to punish the player for harming innocent people, but AC Shadows encourages you to harm housemaids. Where did the keep your blade away from innocent flesh rule of the Creed go? Assassins were vigilantes, not thugs. I hope this game fails and Ubisoft goes back to what made Assassin's Creed good. Edit. I forgot to mention how Ezio's first assassination in AC2 is ruthless and disrespectful. He stabs Ville de Pazzi, his childhood buddy rival, several times and insults him, but his uncle Mario Auditore stops him and teaches him how to pay respect for the dead. Compare this scene, which is clearly made to establish the honor of the assassins, to Yasuke beheading a disarmed man. One scene is fueled by strong values, while the other one is made just to show gore and senseless violence. These were comments from people who have played the Assassin's Creed series. Thank you. After reading these comments, I will give my personal opinion. Fans of the Assassin's Creed series did not just enjoy the violent games, but were able to experience way of life as an assassin through the story. The goal is not just to brutally murder the enemy, but to do a beautiful assassination with pride as an assassin. Players related to this storyline, so it must have been a concept that was emphasized in the series. For these reasons, I still believe that the samurai does not fit the concept of the Assassin's Creed series. As I have explained a samurai's job is not assassination. It is impossible to portray a samurai as an assassin, so if they wanted to make Yasuke the protagonist, he should have been a ninja. Of course, it would have been best to have a Japanese male ninja as the protagonist, but if Yasuke were a ninja, it would have fit the concept of the game. Yasuke of Assassin's Creed Shadows is a character that was probably created based on the misperception that he is Yasuke, the legendary black samurai. The excessive heroism of Yasuke by this game can only be disadvantage to Japan from a historical and cultural point of view. I think it is necessary to correct the mistake here and now because of the global influence of the game. I also received comments that UBI did the same for the Vikings and ancient Greece. I am not familiar with these histories and would like to hear a detailed view from someone abroad. If UBI has made games in the past that disregard history, then the company itself may have a problem. I got a question from a Japanese perspective: is Yasuke a samurai bushi or not? Thank you. Please see the article by a Japanese historian for their views on Yasuke. The article is in full Japanese, but I will introduce the link. 織田信長に召し抱えられた黒人の弥助は侍身分だったのか。 Historian Mr. 渡辺。弥助問題。本人は芸人のような立場。日本人の不満は当然。歴史学者ゴザ氏に聞く。Historian Mr. ゴザ。弥助描いた日大准教授の著書「発想に飛躍検証不能な逸話」も歴史学者ゴザ氏に聞く。Historian Mr. Goza. I too believe that Yasuke was not a samurai. Even if he had fought on the battlefield, his treatment would have been that of a low-ranking bushi. I will give my personal opinion on Yasuke's anecdote. Yasuke came as a missionary slave and was taken into the hands of Oda Nobunaga. Without fear of misinterpretation, I believe that Yasuke was treated as an unusual pet given the background of the time. I used the term pet, but this means that he was cherished as an existence of favorite. It is said that Yasuke was given a katana, sword, and a fuchi, salary, but if one is to employ a person, they cannot be treated poorly. And those who serve a person of high status are expected to behave accordingly. That's why I think they dressed him up with katana etc. and made him dress appropriately to serve the Lord. And I think they also gave him a fuchi because he also worked as a luggage carrying work and so on. There is also an anecdote about Nobunaga, who sent Yasuke walk the city with his retainers, and people gossiped that he is going to be making Yasuke into a lord. Given the context, this could be a situation where they are joking that it seems to make his pet a lord of the land. In modern times, it would be like a celebrity giving his pet a mansion and letting him be a company president. So I think people at that time made the joke out from the unusual appearance. And in the Honnoji incident, Yasuke was overlooked by Akechi Mitsuhide and survived, which is an unthinkable action according to samurai values. If Yasuke was a renowned samurai, he would be killed by someone from the Akechi army for their military service. But no one killed Yasuke. And if Yasuke himself had samurai values, he would choose to commit seppuku in such a situation. We would rather commit suicide with pride than be captured and humiliated by the enemy. This is the way of thinking of the samurai. I believe from these facts that Yasuke was not a samurai, but someone who served Nobunaga because he was unusual existence. A comment was made that Yasuke may not be featured in Japanese history because he is a black man. I received this one as a genuine question and I will answer it carefully. I am not saying that there is no bias in my opinion, but that is the Japanese point of view and I have explained it in detail to help you understand this point of view. Japanese, American, French, African, our perspective will always change depending on our position. With that in mind, I hope you understand my opinion. The crucial difference between William Adams, Miura Anjin, and Yasuke is whether there is a record of their achievements. It is not a difference between whites and blacks. I had never learned about William Adams from a textbook just like about Yasuke. I first learned about him in the drama Shogun, so he is less well known than Yasuke in my mind. However, research on him reveals that he contributed to trade by building Japan's first Western-style sailing ship. In addition, he became a diplomatic advisor to Tokugawa Ieyasu, which must have been reassuring to Japan, which had limited diplomatic experience with European countries. Then, what about Yasuke? Records about Yasuke remain not only in Japanese documents but also in Jesuit records. There is only a record of Yasuke as a slave there, but nothing of his achievements. As I discussed in my last video, there are many historical documents from Japan. However, there are only a few mentions of Yasuke and no record of his having accomplished anything. If Yasuke had brought new technology, for example, he would have been honored like William Adams and the legend would have remained. If he had performed well in war, he would surely have been recorded because of his prominence. In addition, if Yasuke had been able to write and left behind a diary or other writings, they would have become historically valuable documents. But they do not exist. Yasuke is not a person who influenced Japan, as he has not made any historical achievements. So we can say that he is a person who does not need to be taken up in Japanese history. I would also like to offer my personal view on the idea that in Japan, whites have historically been more respected than blacks. This is only my personal opinion. I think it is true that there is a trend in Japan to faith in white people and the West, but I believe this is a recent trend created by the media. To begin with, Japan was at war until 1945, fighting against various countries. including the United States, the United Kingdom, and the Soviet Union. Due to the wartime background, there was a trend of hatred toward foreigners and whites at that time. However, in the post-war period, as American culture began to flow in, resistance to foreigners may have waned. Then, in recent years, television and other influences have created a trend to think that foreign countries are wonderful. I think this is because the media at that time was more limited than it is today. Television, movies, and magazines have been the main media for learning about foreign countries, but these can only give us one side. The people that the Japanese public knows from the media are actors, actresses, singers, models, etc., and we see only the good side of a foreign country. This may have created a trend of Western faith in Japan. However, with the development of the internet in the modern age, I think this trend is disappearing. We now take computers and smartphones for granted and can easily travel between countries, making it easy to obtain information about foreign countries. That information conveyed more everyday matters and also negative problems. Just because someone is a foreign people does not mean that all people are beautiful, wise, and good. Just as not all Japanese people are like that, there are many different kinds of people in the world, and not all are bad people. Speaking of my mindset I had as a child, I had the feeling that foreign people came from far away and spoke a different language, so I had to be nice to them. In the first place, there is no difference between whites, blacks, Asians, etc. They are all equally recognized as foreign people who look and speak different languages. The foreign people I have met have been good people and I have no racist feelings. It is unthinkable to discriminate against someone solely because they are black. I may be surprised because I am not used to seeing them, but that is just it. I won't touch on immigration, etc., because it is off topic. But if you are a good, law-abiding, mannered person, Japanese people will not discriminate against you. I have explained this so far, but I think some people would still claim that I and the Japanese are racist. Just to be sure, I would say that it appears that way to you precisely because there is a veil over your eyes. Discussing these matters is distracting from the purpose of the video, so I will respond briefly to their comments. It is true that stereotypical black people appear in Japanese comics and animation, but at that time, probably it was mainstream to portray it that way. I think it is much pretty considered in more recent works. Incidentally, Japanese people were also stereotypically portrayed in the past as having fishing eyes, glasses, back tooth, and have a camera. I would like to ask what you think about this. Tekken 8 is a fighting game. It seems to be in the format of a tournament where various players fight each other. Since this is a martial arts match, there will be no problem if they hit each other. You may be commenting as a joke, but
I think you should stop because it is not amusing. Regarding the no whites allowed sign, I have never seen this before, but I wonder if there was at a tourist attraction in Japan. If I saw this, I think perhaps white people or foreign people did annoying at this store. If there are tourists with bad manners, it is only natural for the store to defend itself. Japan has no involvement in the affairs of Native Americans or blacks in the United States. Please solve those problems in the US. This issue of Assassin's Creed Shadows and Yasuke is a topic that many Japanese are talking about because it is a Japanese cultural issue. はい。Thank you for watching so far. This is a long video, but I hope my opinion is conveyed in some small way. There were other comments I would like to respond to, but I will leave those for another time. If you have any questions, please comment on the video. Thank you for watching.